Hi, this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and I wanted to show you, wanted to demonstrate this trade that I've taken here. I didn't get the recorder on in time to show you how I entered the trade, but I'm going to show you what I did here and why I took this trade. This is if it doesn't fail, this is going to be a breakout pullback short. You see we had this little trading range, prices broke lower, pulled back to the EMA and then turned back down. And when we broke lower right there, that um, created the breakout pullback short. And what I'm looking for is for prices to come back down and test this low here. And you see we've got a measured leg right there. And then I'm looking for another measured leg back down to test this low right here. And because there's not a lot of room in here, I did something a little different here. Instead of putting me a entry stop right here, I waited till prices broke lower, and then I came back a tick or two and put a limit entry order there. So I entered on a limit order, which gives me a little more room to scalp out before getting all the way to the bottom here. And it's it's looking like this thing may actually fail. I'm going to keep my stop above my signal bar, which is this bar, and we'll see if this works out. But that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for prices to come back down and test this low for a measured leg down. And then I'm also looking, you got this leg down and then a little pullback right here, and then another measured leg down puts it down here as well. And we may even get a tick higher here. Well, this thing could reverse right out of here. It's very possible. We'll see what happens. But I'm thinking we may get a trap right here. And at least that's what I'm hoping. If prices go too much higher here, I'm going to get stopped out. I'll lose a point or so on this entry. But I'm looking for prices to come test this low, basically. That's my expectation. That's why I entered the trade. And we'll just have to see what it's going to do at this point. And I actually may look to enter long again down here if we get down here. So I'm looking to exit here, but I'm also looking for a possible new entry down here. So we'll see what happens. So now we've tested this area twice here, so that really gives us some more credence to the downside if we turn back down now. That's why I used a limit order, because I was expecting that prices would break lower and then pull back a little bit. I didn't expect them to go that high, or I would have obviously put my limit order way up here, and I would almost be able to get out before we even got to here. But that didn't happen, so we'll see what happens. Again, I'm looking for prices to come down and test this low. And normally you would enter with a stop right here, but the reason I wanted to show you this is because there's other ways. If you miss the trade, you can just drop a limit order back here and hope, and if prices just take straight off and go on down, well, obviously you can't do that, but that didn't happen here. I put my order in, and sometimes it comes back and gives you a chance to get in. Sometimes it doesn't. So but we may do two trades for you here, because if we get out of this trade, I may go ahead and enter another one to the long side right down here. We'll see what happens. And I'm tempted to just put another naked order right under that. But we'll get out of this trade first. Or hopefully we'll get out of this trade first. So I really believe that if we can break below this bar, we'll probably push on down here. It's been really slow since this pullback to right in here about 10 o'clock. It's been really slow, and this has been the only real entry. You could have entered short right here on this failed second entry long, because that's a short trap, and you would have been able to scalp out. But it was a little risky. It's better to always wait on the breakout pullback short like I did, so that, and again, in case you don't see that, we got all these matching lows. Prices broke lower. We don't enter on the break lower. We wait for the pullback, and then for that to fail, and then prices go lower. So that's the way I entered. And we're trying to go lower here. And prices are just really struggling to go lower. But they've been struggling to go lower this whole way down here, so we may make a higher low right here and go higher from this point, but I'm really thinking that we're going to come down here and test this low. And I may pause this just so we don't get too long. If we get stuck right in here for a few minutes, I may pause this and pick it back up when prices are doing something. I hate to pause it because I want you to be able to see it, but at the same time, I don't want to sit here and just waste a bunch of time with prices just chopping up and down a tick or two here and there. But all we're trying to do is get a point out of this. We want to get out before we get down to here, so I could move this down one tick because if we break lower, I'm really thinking we're going to test this low, and we might even break lower and create a trap right there. But we got to break lower first. All right, I'd pause that just a minute. This bar is getting very close to its ending. See, there's 172 ticks left in this bar, and what we're hoping is it closes bearish, or either just continues on lower, one of the two. If it doesn't close bearish, it's not a good sign. And we're just waiting. You see, there's just not a lot of volume. I mean, you see how slow the ticks are moving. When we finally got a couple of ticks there, it's just, there we go. Now there's a little movement, but it's moving really slow. Normally 140 ticks, when there's a good bit of volume, that's going to go by fairly quickly, and it's just not happening right now. So it's not a lot of sellers coming into the market, but there's certainly not a lot of buyers coming in either. And that just basically closed. It's got a little bit of a bearish slant, but it's not much. But you can see this was our support across here, and it really was right there. There's your closes. And now you can see it's acting as resistance across there. So that's what we hope to see if prices are going to go lower. Okay, we got a tick higher there and tested that resistance area. We'll see if it holds, and if not, we're probably going higher from here. But the bias is still down, so I'm thinking trap right here, and that we're still going to come down here and test this low. Regardless, I've still got my stop one tick above the original signal bar right here. Now it's just a matter of seeing what's going to happen here. And this is a good example why sometimes it's better to wait on the second entry. Now we've definitely got two legs back to the EMA, two legs back to test the resistance area. Depending on how you had it, we got more touches right there, I think. But most of your closes were up here. So, but here we go. We got this thing moving in our direction. Maybe we'll break lower this time and go ahead and wrap this trade up. And then we're going to think about going long here. Again, this is what I'm looking at. There's your first leg down. And then there's your second leg. You can see that actually this is probably your first leg right there, and then you move it over, there's your second leg, and look where the target is, right down here to this previous low. And then you also got this leg down, and there's a target for that leg again right down here in this same area. So that's what we're looking at. We're really struggling to get below this point right here. But all the same, that's where we're headed. Or at least this is where I believe we're headed. Shouldn't say that's where we're headed because I don't know that. And we're into 12 minutes on this trade. This is not what I hope for. You hope to be in and out of these things very quickly. But I wanted to demonstrate this trade simply because I get a lot of questions about breakout pullbacks, about how to handle support and resistance. And, you know, generally you don't want to go short at a place like this. And I actually going short here on the breakout would have worked. And it's been more risky now that we've entered on the breakout pullback short. And so you just never know. But the key is you got to be really careful on going short on the breakout or going long on the breakout. You want to wait on a breakout pullback long. And here's a good example right here. We kind of had resistance right across here. Prices broke higher, and look what happened. They failed and came back. But then if you went long on the breakout pullback, you would have got your scalp out of it. So, you know, hopefully we'll see the same thing right here. You don't take the breakout because they're generally going to fail. And whether or not they'll be just a temporary failure or a permanent failure, you don't know. But the better way to enter is to enter on a breakout pullback short. You don't buy or sell the breakout. So hopefully that makes sense. And that's why I wanted to demonstrate this trade, just to show you how you would enter on a breakout and not enter on a breakout. You don't enter on the actual break or move out of the below the support or above the resistance. You wait on the breakout to pull back and retest and hold like we did here. And if you move that up there where most of the closes were, you can see we pulled back and we've tested that 2 more times again and still held. So that's a good sign that prices may go lower. But the problem now is we got all these overlapping bars, and this is kind of a congestion area. So if we ever break lower, but they're really protecting. Every time prices come down there, they bounce right back up. So there's a lot of people starting to buy right in here, and that's a good sign. You see they ended that as another doji, although prices did close very far on the end. And I believe if we ever break lower from there, we're going to come on down here and test this area. And I hate to pause it. I don't want this to get too long, but I hate to pause it because as soon as I pause it, it'll probably break through. But we'll see what happens. We're either going to go lower here or I really feel fairly confident that we're coming down here, and it's just taking its own sweet time. There's just not a lot of volume going on. You can see the ticks. Watch how slow they're moving. And they're just not, the market's just kind of right now. Kind of the blah's time of day. It's right in the lunch hour. It's right in the Chicago lunch hour anyway. The New York guys should be coming back from lunch now, and maybe they'll drive it on down for us. But again, I really like the possibility of a long right here, and if I wasn't short already, um, I'd probably have an order sitting there, and I may put one there before it's over. Because I'm thinking we're going to have a two-legged correction and then go back to the high side before it's over. Again, you don't want to do a lot of thinking ahead because it gives you a bias. But I'm looking for a bounce off of this area right in here, regardless of what prices are going to do thereafter. So we'll just leave it at that. But again, hopefully you understand why I originally liked this short. You know, if you weren't already short, I definitely wouldn't like it now. We do have a little trap here with this tick higher and then prices turning back down. But until we get below this right here, and with all those overlapping bars, there's a chance prices could tick down here and create a double bottom and then turn up. And we may just go up from right here. I don't know. But it's not the prettiest looking setup that I've ever traded right now. But I did have a chance to show you how to enter on a breakout, and that's why I decided to record this and take this trade. I'm going to pause it again here until something happens. All right, that last bar entered as a doji. Tried to go higher, and all it did was bounce off the EMA again and off the resistance area up there. And now we're trying to go lower again. Will it get through there this time? I don't know. I suspect it will, but I don't know that. So we'll just have to see what happens. And I prefer to pause this so we don't burn up a lot of time with just sitting here watching prices bounce around. But once we break below this area right across here, it's probably going to rocket on down here, I would think. And I'm just afraid that if we're going to miss the best part of the trade, which is where we take our profits. So I'm a little hesitant to pause it too long, but the thing that we're getting into 20 minutes in this trade now, and so I'm going to pause it again. We'll see what happens. Well, this has been the boringest trade ever, but it still serves a good purpose, a learning purpose. And let me show you something else while I'm thinking about where we're waiting on something to happen here. Notice how these highs, how this high here is lower than this one. This high here is lower than that one. This high is lower than that one. This close is lower than that close. This close is about the same as that one, and this close is trying to close lower. So it's like the buyers are weakening all the way down here. And that's another good sign for us as far as prices coming on down here, or at least there we go. We're out. Let's cancel our stop up here. I didn't have an automated purchase there. And you see how that worked. And it took a little bit of patience and a little bit of time, but everything was working in our favor. And now I'm looking for the bounce, and I'm really tempted to go long here. But we'll see what happens, and we'll go from there. And let's see where exactly our measured move is. I bet we've got it by now. All right, in that area. But you see how prices are already bouncing here. And if you'd have been in right there, you'd probably be out before it gets out of this thing pretty quick. But anyway, hopefully you saw that. And I apologize. It was a long, boring trade, but there's just not much volume right now. Not much I could do about it. there's leg 1 and there's leg 2, and that's what we were looking for. And this is actually a two-legged move back, then a two-legged correction, and then a two-legged move down. And so you see the two-legged moves in there, hopefully. And hopefully that makes sense. Again, we don't want to buy the breakout here, even though it would have worked if you'd have sold below that bearish bar. It's really risky selling right there along that support area, because what's going to happen is prices are probably going to break lower and then fail and go back up, and that's exactly what happened. So you wait for that to happen, and you see how prices react on if what was support here, which was more there, really, that's where most of your closes are. You want to wait till that pullback and see if that acts as resistance, and it did. It did it once, twice, then even a third time, and that little break higher right there above that bar was really helpful for my trade, even though it's kind of difficult to watch that go against you a tick like that, knowing it's getting very close to your stop. But the key is that trapped some longs, because I guarantee you some people got long right there thinking that's a second entry long, but the target was down here. And that's why we teach these targets. I have a different manual for that, but you know, we're looking for those second legs. And this thing's really selling off now, so I got out way too early, but I expected we'd have a nice bounce there. And I guess looking back across here, we never really tested this area when we broke above it very well, so they're going ahead and getting that while they're at it. But I suspect we're going to bounce here. In fact, I'm tempted to buy this. I'm probably not going to let this whole trade play out, but I'm really tempted to buy that right there and scalp out on the way back up. See if we can get filled on it. And I probably won't watch this whole trade play out, but this is a great setup for a bounce here. And I'm probably going to miss it anyway. But anyway, hopefully you understand why we took the trade we took a minute ago, and why we did what we did. And now I believe we have our two legs back. We're actually a little overdone here to the downside. You see how far away we are from the EMA, which is not always a good reason to trade of and by itself. But if you throw the other, you know, all the rest of the pieces in here, that this is a break below this, and the odds are very high we're going to come back and test that again. And so we'll see. And it just doesn't like we're going to get filled on this one. I'm afraid it's going to bounce before we get filled. I'm probably just going to go ahead and end this trade. We're 23 minutes in it, so this is going to have to serve as our chart lesson for today. But you know, hopefully you understand why we did what we did there. It wasn't a pretty trade as far as being in and out quickly, but it did exactly what I was expecting it would do. We broke lower, we had a breakout pullback short, and I was looking for this next leg to come all the way down here and test this area right in here. And that's what happened. And it turned out to be a nice trade for us. I traded 6 contracts. We got a point there. So that's a nice, I guess that's a nice $300 we made there. And it wasn't quick and easy like we like them. But I would have liked to have got some on the reverse side here, but I missed that one by a tick. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up, and we appreciate you watching it. And if you want to learn more about price action, check out our website, check out some of the other videos, things like that. So, but this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.